ChapmanWave.com.
Welcome back, folks. Dow's up 178. We have the Nasdaq up 55. S&Ps are up 32. Let's go over to our man, Mr. Basil Chapman, as we do each and every Wednesday at 30 past the hour. And don't forget, folks, Basil does an outstanding show here every trading day, 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. Also has a great newsletter, The Opening Call. Now, it's very easy to get The Opening Call, folks, as you come over to our website at TFNN. See it right under featured content. You just hit the middle button, Opening Call. You hit subscribe. You can get Basil's newsletter for 1 month for $128. You can get it for 6 months for $595, which is a savings of $173, or 22%. You can get it for a year for $995, which is a savings of $541, or 35%. Now, they all come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, folks. Everything to win, zero to lose. Basil Chapman, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Yourself?
Very good, thank you.
I heard you're getting some heat in Boston, right?
Actually, it's been very cool, but I think the heat is coming in.
Oh, really? Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot cooler than usual this time in July, the last couple of days, but it'll be here.
That's
Humidity.
nice, man. That's nice. So,
yeah, as long as
market-wise, what do we got here?
So, this is going to be an interesting week because last week was a special week. I said that this is the week that we will get the test of how the NASDAQ either completes its run to the upside and then takes a digestive phase. What happens if, in fact, there is a digestive phase as they've had spectacular gains, the Apples and Amazons, etc. What happens if they start to digest the gains? Where will the money go? And that's really what, for my subscribers, I'm trying to find right now. In fact, we try and start positions now in some of the cyclical stocks that have been out of favor. So I thought it would be an appropriate time just to go through some of the techniques we're looking at because they've been applying to, we've had some really good gains this quarter. And I wanted to say that some of the techniques that we've discussed, I talk about in my show, the Tiger Technicians Hour at noon, and we go through these things. So I thought I'd just go through a couple of things right now. So basically what we look at is try to identify the lowest low bar and count each successively higher peak. I alphabetize them. It can go to 7 higher peaks. It's alphabetized A, B, C, D, E, F, G in sequence. It's at that 4th highest peak that other things can happen. You can see the way I've drawn it here. And then there's another couple of techniques. I'm always looking for, let me just get out of that. I'm always looking for either a straight line up or a straight line down. A cup formation, that could be a V, but it's basically a cup formation going from one point down and then back to that point. And what happens when you get back to that point, or it's the other way around? You come down and then you rally sharp and you come back to the same point. What happens when you hit that? You spoke about the dollar. We've seen the dollar keeps making low lows recently, so it's been taking out that left side low. And then there's a combination where I call it the lowercase h or the reverse y. If in the H pattern you take out the left side low, you can go lower. On the right side, if you take out that left side high, you can go high, and that's why it's green. And another pattern that I talk about quite often is it's a rising trend line that keeps getting bumped. It's not a matter of how many peaks, but usually when you get to peak D, E, or F, there's a pullback, and then you start to make lower highs and lower lows, and it looks like an expanding cone, declining cone. And it all of a sudden stops and it starts to go up. And my big thing is, over the many years that I've been doing this, it's how it breaks that downtrend line. Can it go one-to-one? I call it a Chapman Wave one-to-one parallel move, because you can go in the same direction, the same angle, a one-to-one expansion. So with that said, let me show you what we're looking at here. In the Dow, we went to a peak D. That's what we were talking about, that 4th highest peak at 27,580 on the 8th of June. And not only that, we came down very sharply. We had 2 days red, and then the 3rd day there was this huge decline. I think that was about June the 8th. And then what happened, that's called an island reversal. So that island reversal is quite potent, because if it doesn't get closed almost immediately, that can hang there as a lot of resistance. So we came down to 24,843, and we've been fortunate. We got, talking about lows, trying to identify the low, we did identify the 23rd of March low. We had bought calls. We still have calls that we're going to roll over into the next month. So they were bought at 10.5, and they're really much higher than in the 60s right now. But most important is that we also got the diamonds at 210, and they are trading right now at about what is that, 268, I think, 267. So this is very important because then you start the pattern with a bounce, and it comes down, and it makes the pattern that I call the H pattern, that red one that we showed, but this time it didn't take out the low. So it bounced and made a successful test of the H. Then that H can very often go to a lowercase m pattern as the second arch forms, and that's the clue, because if that one breaks under key important support levels, in this case the 200-period moving average, which I think in the last month and a half has hit about 15 times, so that's how important these moving averages can be. If it holds that, then all of a sudden this pattern can morph from a potential negative pattern to a cup formation. So one of the things that I look at is the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence. On the left here is the daily, in the middle is the weekly, on the right is the monthly. And look, the MACD was going down, 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 and yet it did not break that low. And that was around about the 27th or so of June. Instead, it ran up. And then, of course, yesterday was a very strong session. And today it gapped up. And we've filled the gap. And we did that very quickly with the QQQs. You saw just the other day with the S&P, the Dow's been lagging. In fact, the IWM, which is trying to play catch-up, hasn't yet filled those gaps. It hasn't even taken out the left side high. So this is a pattern that we'll look at. Right now is that cup formation. So far, that's very strong. The MACD finally turned positive. That's a good thing. And the stochastic isn't at 80% or higher. That's what I like. It's at 77. So it's got some catching up to do. But I think that the Dow is trying to test the last high of the 8th of June, the 27,580s. Here's that pattern that I call the falling axe. Look, here's this. I call this the Chapman wave, inside track repellent zone. This the green and pink dashed lines. And we are right at the top of that line. We haven't broken it yet. And we've seen, I've shown a number of times, both in the den and in my show. I wonder if I've still got this here. The ESU the ESU did that. See, there's this declining, falling axe, lower lows and much lower, lower highs, much lower lows. And then we expanded in a parallel motion we went a little above the extension. So this is pink and that's green, just to show how it breaks out. Once you can take out that trend line, and you've started in the S&P, this is the E-mini contract, you've started to take out that resistance. So to me, I still see upside action. I like what I see. I think we're looking at rotation, and that rotation is so important, because if we didn't get the rotation, we'll be seeing a lot lower prices very soon. So I think there's still enough strength to see the Qs, Index 100, take a breather. The S&P is acting quite well. The Dow is playing catch-up. The IWM, which has been the most horrible laggard, is just starting to pick up right now. It is in leg D, but this is very good action. So I think there's a rotation. That's one of the reasons I say to subscribers, we're going to try to get into some of the laggards, like cyclicals here, to add to our list of the stocks that we have, and most of them have done really well. So I think this is going to be good. We'll see what happens, because as you were saying, this is a fascinating period. We've got a lot of crosswinds, but I think so far things are looking pretty good.
And folks, it's very easy to get the newsletter. Just come over to our website at TFNN. You're going to see it right under featured content, the opening call. Just hit subscribe. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Basil, you have a great one, a safe one. Of course, we look forward to the show tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you. Stay right there, folks. Come right back. Dow's up 233, Nasdaq's up 66, S&Ps are up 35. Right back, folks.